What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with Reactions to the Classics, and today I'm ranking the songs in order from worst to best on Bruce Springsteen's debut album, Greetings from Asbury Park. Bruce Springsteen's my favorite solo artist of all time. You see him over my shoulder right here. It's always tricky on a camera, which shoulder. You see Born to Run over my shoulder over here. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to rank his discography. So I'm listening to all his albums again. I'm reading the lyrics. I'm really doing a deep dive, listening to each album twice, once on my own, without anything, just a casual listen, and then like reading the lyrics and really focusing. And in that, I'm ranking every individual song, and I'm going to create a master list of his best, of all the songs ranked. I thought, you know what? Let's just do the album in here as well. So this is an album I wasn't super familiar with. I think I'd only ever listened to it once, but it came out in January of 1973. Bruce does sound different here. He's only 23 years old, so his voice isn't quite the maturity that he was going to get, but no E Street Band yet. I mean, there is one, but it's not anybody we know, except for Clarence. Clarence can appear on 2 songs. Clive Davis, the head of his record label, got this album and said, I'm rejecting it. There's no single. So Bruce went back and wrote Blinded by the Light, which we'll get to in a little bit, and Spirit in the Night. It did not sell well. Critics loved it. It went to 60 in the US, 41 in the UK, and that's going to be a story for Bruce for his first couple albums. The critics love it, but it doesn't sell well. So let's get to these songs. There's 9 songs on here, so my 9th song, the worst song on here, is Does This Bus Stop at 82nd Street. It's a little over 2 minutes, no chorus on it, loosely based on a bus ride that Bruce took through New York to get to his girlfriend at the time who lived in uptown Manhattan. So basically, most of it's said in Spanish Harlem and kind of an observation of what he sees there. 8th song for me, Mary, Queen of Arkansas. Could be a love letter to Mary, or it could be about a drag queen, which a lot of people thought. It's got some circus references on here. It's not the only song that does. It's just Bruce on here on the guitar and harmonica. About half these songs, it's just Bruce, and half of them have the band. Next up, barely have it ranked above Mary, Queen of Arkansas, my new numerical ranking that I give each song. For You. It's about a woman contemplating suicide. Builds arrangements more than the others on here. Lyrics are reminiscent of his Bob Dylan influence that he was very much compared to and almost accused of on this album. Next up, I have The Angel. It's a piano-only song. There's a little upright bass mixed in there, which was overdubbed later. It's got an automobile theme, probably about a motorcycle outlaw. Now, as we know, Bruce likes those automobile themes, and he's really going to push on into these in a 2 and 3 albums from now, Born to Run and Darkness on the Edge of Town. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Next up, we got Growing Up. It's a really good tale. Some of it of Bruce growing up, some of it fictionalized. It's one of my favorite songs if you've watched Springsteen on Broadway on Netflix. And if you haven't, you need to, because he tells great stories. It's like 11 and a half minutes long on there because he sings the first verse and then he tells all these great stories and then he finishes out. But it's coming in right there for me. So we got 4 songs left. And now it gets much tougher here at the top. Well, really Growing Up. The top 5 on here are super strong. But number 4, It's Hard to Be a Saint in the City. It's the song that caused Mike Apple, who was his first manager, who eventually he battled up with for years, to quit his job to manage Bruce, even though Bruce didn't even have a record contract. But Bruce inspired that in people, right? We'll talk about on Born to Run, how John Landau quit one heck of a gig to be his manager, but not yet. First song he played for John Hammond of CBS Records. He goes up to Hammond's office, him and Apple, and he is just doing acoustic versions of many of his songs, trying to get a record deal. This is the first one that he played. Talks of Bruce's, it's pretty autobiographical, his adventures playing in the clubs on the Jersey Shore. You know, he didn't drink or anything, but all the other trouble you can get into. You got to drink to get in trouble, boys and girls. Number 3, one of only 2 singles on here. One of them I mentioned that Clarence is on and that he wrote as a single in mind. Spirit in the Night. So Clarence is great on here. Vinny Mad Dog Lopez's drummings and hand claps are just fantastic. Call and response in the chorus is great. You feel like these guys are having a really, really good time. Describes a group of teenagers that got these cool nicknames and all the adventures they go on. All right, we got 2 songs left. Where's the one that everybody knows is going to be? It's right here. Number 2, Blinded by the Light. Obviously, everybody knows Manfred Mann's version better, which I do too. And the first time I listened to this on my first listen through this album, I'm like, this song is not great. It starts the album out. It's pretty darn good. The more you listen to it, the better it is. But it is so much different in arrangement than Manfred Mann's. The Manfred Mann version is Bruce's only number 1 song, right? And that just as a songwriter. Dance in the Dark, I think, made it to number 2, but He never had a number one song, which is crazy to me, but except for Blinded by the Light, which not his version. This was a single, didn't have any success. Bruce said it's about people who he knew, and some of it's about himself. And he wrote the song by going through a rhyming dictionary in search of appropriate words, which when you read the lyrics makes sense because they do rhyme. But he manages to, even at this young age of his career, fashion it into a sensical story. So drum roll, please. My number one song, Lost in the Flood. It's over 5 minutes, and I think it's the first indication of what's to come from Bruce, right? This is an epic songwriting. It's absolutely fantastic. Three verses. Each one tells a story of someone else. It's just fantastic. Stevie Van Zandt makes his first appearance, although it's just doing some guitar effects through an amplifier at the very start. He's not credited for it. He's not playing on the album, but that is my number one, Lost in the Flood. I have a feeling a lot of people have Spirit in the Night or probably Blinded by the Light, but I'm going with Lost in the Flood, which is I rated an 8.0 out of 10. So it's gonna be in the upper echelon of Bruce's songs for me. Not the upper echelon, but the upper echelon. So there you have it. I'm going to do every one of these albums, so keep an eye out here as I go through them. Some will be short like this, and the next few where there's not very many songs. Then you get to something like The River, which is a double album, which will take a little bit longer, but I have lots of Springsteen. I have lots of full album reactions, all kinds of stuff down in the Bruce Springsteen playlist below. There's also going to be a playlist created if you just want to run through my rankings of his discography. Let me know your favorites on here. What'd you think of my ranking? Did you like it? Did you not? I can take it, man. Let me know. If you haven't already, hit the thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. It greatly helps us out. Until next time, guys, I will see you.